This is the International Criminal Court, which it was set up to pursue international criminals, particularly heads of state, who obviously aren't going to get done in their own countries. And they've put out a warrant for Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. What do you think?
I'm not entirely surprised, actually, given what Israeli forces have done in Gaza. Also, the former Defense Secretary, they put two out for Hamas leaders. One we know is dead. The other one is believed to be dead. So I think they've been very fair-handed there, because there's undoubtedly October the 7th last year was a war crime by Hamas, the pogrom, when they just went into Israel and murdered so many people. But the disproportionate response by the Israelis in Gaza, and so many women and children killed, trying to starve the population, forcing them around. I could see there is a case there for those war crimes. There's one out against Putin.
Well, there is
as well.
But then that's part of the problem, isn't it? People saying, hang on, is Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, on the same level as Putin? He said the court's decision was anti-Semitic. He rejected the allegations. Let's see.
The court in The Hague accuses us of a deliberate policy of starvation. This when we've supplied Gaza with 700,000 tons of food to feed the people of Gaza. That's 3,200 calories for every man, woman, and child in Gaza. And these supplies are routinely looted by Hamas terrorists who deprive their people of much-needed food.
So we've got an issue now in Britain because these arrest warrants are we belong to the courts.
Yeah, that's the biggest story that Keir Starmer has confirmed.
So let's say Netanyahu thinks, OK, I'm going to test this today.
Yeah.
Got to get on a plane today and arrive in London.
Well, Keir Starmer has said that he would allow for Netanyahu to be arrested, which would be a massive diplomatic crisis.
Has he said? Oh, OK.
He just confirmed it this morning.
I thought he. OK,
no,
this morning.
It was just I just read it. Like
OK, right.
Yesterday, Downing Street was stonewalling.
Well, that's what I heard. Yeah,
they were stonewalling. I listened in on the call because they don't want the row, basically. But if you've signed up to the court, there's 124 countries. The US hasn't, but there's 124 countries have signed up. If he comes onto your territory, you will have to. I'd like to see how anyone gets past the security around the leader of Israel.
Well, I think if he arrives in Britain, we're going to have a real issue. Yep. Labour's Emily Thornberry said Netanyahu should be arrested if he visits the UK. Let's have a listen to this.
We're signatories to the Rome Agreement, and it's pretty clear on that what our obligations would be. We support the International Criminal Court. It's an independent court. If it has decided that there is a case for him to answer and that warrants should be issued, then as signatories, we ought to be arresting him, yeah.
So she's one of the Corbyn team, really, isn't she? She's not central now.
No, she didn't get a ministerial job. She's chair of the Foreign Affairs.
That's not the government speaking, that's what I mean.
No, that's right. No, that's not the government speaking. I think the government will just want to look the other way and hope he doesn't come in.
Well, they might tell him to.
If I was him, I would test them.
Trouble.
I'd come straight over now, today.
I don't think it would be worth it. But I do think it's interesting that they have targeted him because Netanyahu hasn't acted alone. He's acted on behalf of the Israeli government.
Well, he's the leader.
Well, yes, but they are a coalition of people making decisions. He's just.
Do you think so?
Well, yes. I think.
People.
So what I would say is this is. I think it's more personal than on behalf of the state of Israel, and I think it's a lot of their defense will come from his own personal, the things he said personally about Gaza. You know, he was always against withdrawing from Gaza, the fact that he financially supported Hamas. So I think they're going to try and paint his character as one that's quite mischievous.
Is that Blinken there? That's
yes.
the US.
Anthony Blinken, the Foreign Secretary of State. Yeah.
But back in the... Oh, no, of course, I'd say back in the day, but Biden's actually... I'm already thinking Biden's in the past. Well, as you say, the interesting thing about the Americans is they've never signed up to it because they were always worried they're going to get arrested for Vietnam.
I'm surprised that we have. I mean...
Well, Robin Cook was behind that, speaking of
yes,
Labour
but I'm surprised that we're still signatories because, you could argue that... I mean, we welcome the Saudis with open arms, but we know that the death of Jamal Khashoggi can quite reliably be put on...
Oh, yeah,
yes.
for sure.
So, but, why do we turn a blind eye to that? So I just think you can argue that we have a lot of double standards of the people.
There's lots of double standards, unquestionably, but you can't use that whataboutery to ignore what's happened in Gaza. Now, Israel...
And also, it's done well. You know, think about Slobodan Milosevic, who was a absolutely awful tyrant in Serbia. Okay, they had an unusual form of justice with him, which is they seemed to just they bored him to death because they arrested him and they took so long. He died of old age in his cell, but at least they caught up with him. Radovan Karadzic was another one.
That's right.
So there are sort of cartoon villains who are worth going after. If you're thinking, let's prosecute, I mean, John Nott, who died recently, Defence Secretary in the Falklands, could he have been responsible for taking down the Argentine ship, the Belgrano? Are you going to arrest him in his 90s?
Yeah.
That gets quite tricky.